So would you mind, Natalie, going back a little bit to your college years and just kind of tracing forward as far as how that worked out? Again, the focus of what we're about here is especially college women's health and sexual wellness. What would you say, looking back, as far as the from the college years up to where you know you when you're where you got married? What were some of the keys, different things that you learned along the way?
I learned a lot. Heartache was kind of all part of it. I'm kind of a stubborn person. I know you may not think that about me, but I was definitely the person that had to learn things the hard way. And looking back, it's funny, I actually was reading through the questions and I had to think back. I was like, you're getting older when you have to like sit and ponder, like, who did I date in college? Or what was that experience like now? Because you just kind of live day by day. Yeah. What did I learn? I learned to, well, first of all, I figured out who I was as a person, um, and the things that kind of made me who I am today. And that was really hard. Looking back in college, my relationships, I dated a couple guys. I went to college with a 4-year relationship and broke that off because I was going from Memphis to Murfreesboro and I didn't want long distance. And my high school boyfriend treated me really well. And, I was just kind of like, oh, I just want to do college and see what's out there. And then, flash forward to college, I kind of was living in this facade that every guy that I dated or met would treat me with the same respect that I had with my high school boyfriend. And that just didn't wind up being the case. I was getting a lot of attention. It was kind of like you're, going into the big pond, little fish in a big pond, so to speak. And, it was an exciting time when you're meeting all these people and you think that all this attention is positive, but it actually, wound up being the opposite of that, and it was the wrong type of attention. And the other thing is, figuring out what my standards were for a guy. Like, of course, in college, everyone is basically, it's all about the attraction, right? That lust, that, oh, that guy's hot or that girl's attractive or whatever. And there's really not anything else there a lot of the time. And I found myself kind of saying, well, I want more than that. I want there to be like, I want them to have a good personality, or I want to have this attraction or this connection with them. And so I remember there was a period of time when I actually wasn't dating anyone, and being in a sorority, we would have date parties all the time. And I vividly remember not having a date to these date parties sometimes. And my friends would be like, you're so gorgeous. Like, why can't you find a guy? And it was because I didn't want to just settle for, any guy that came along. I wanted there to be a holder layer there. So there was that internal conflict of trying to fit in and just have someone, so to speak, right, to have fun with and go on dates with, and go to date parties with, so to speak. And then the few relationships I did have in college, I was cheated on several times. So there's just that you kind of get scarred from that. You again, don't ever think that that's going to happen to you. And like I said, I kind of lived in this world that everyone was honest. And even then, when I graduated college, I was like, okay, I have a career now. I have this boyfriend. He was a little older than me, so he had a house, he had a job, he had a car, he had everything. I was like, hey, this is it. And you kind of put all your eggs in that basket, and then he wound up cheating on me as well. So then fast forward, getting over that breakup. I was single for probably about 3 years. And during that 3-year period, not being in college where you're not constantly surrounded with other young single people and you're more of an adult, right? And all your friends are getting married and having kids. That was a really important part of my life that has brought me to where I am today, because I feel like I really needed that time, like I said, to find out who I was as a person, and not who is Natalie in a relationship with so and so, who is Natalie dating this person. It was just, who is Natalie by herself, on like, what are my interests, what are things that I enjoy doing, and really making yourself whole as a person instead of looking for a relationship. And I also vividly remember, I would go through phases where I would say, like, I don't even know if I want to get married, I don't want to have kids, I don't need a guy, da 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 da, and you get on this that high strung horse of like, I can do this by myself and I don't need anyone. And then swinging the complete pendulum, because we're built for relationship, we're made for relationship with one another. And kind of to that whole like desperate aspect, right? Where me and my friends would go out and I would just, I remember going to an outing and going up to a guy and giving him kind of the rundown of like the 21 questions. And who are you? What's your name? What do you do? Da, 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 da. And it's like, well, that's not attractive either. Right. And so it was really about finding that middle ground of just being okay, being single and being content in your life with who you are. And then I went on a vacation to Maui with one of my other old college professors, and he took a group over there, and we were over there for a couple of weeks, and I just ran into Sean randomly, and we hung out and exchanged numbers and all that. And I left Maui thinking I would never see him again. And I went back over there for one of my spring breaks or fall breaks. And again, it was just, okay, like, you're cool. We're in Maui. This is fun, whatever. And then, he visited me, I visited him, he visited me again. And it was kind of a critical moment in my life where I had paid off all my college debt, praise God. And I wanted to make a move and do something else. And I wasn't even sure at that point if I wanted to be with Sean. And I was actually still seeing other people here, still trying to figure out what I wanted to do here with other guys. And it literally took me, of course, Sean found out. It was literally, I was about to move to Maui. Sean had found out I had talked to another guy when I had come back to get my stuff and move. And it took me almost losing Sean to realize what was most important in my life. And the guy I was seeing at the time was not a good thing. And like I say, from a Christian standpoint, I think God had to move me halfway across the world to find my one true love, the one that I was supposed to be with, and to get me out of the funk that I was in. So Sean and I lived there for a while and got engaged and then got married. And then we were pregnant with Ava, and that's when we decided to move back. So wow. And the rest is history. And we're still growing as a couple and learning new things about each other. And that's all just the beautiful, beautiful part of marriage. But I couldn't have done any of that if I hadn't had those seasons of figuring out who I was, those seasons of heartache and heartbreak to figure out, what are you going to put up with? What are your standards? What are you going to be okay with? You have to go through all of that to not only appreciate when the right one comes along, but to, like I said, just to figure out who you are as a person. So.
Right.